Shout out to audience member Sandman. He asks a very interesting question. The question is, why is PC, why is it that PC is not looked at as a platform? I don't understand this from either the Xbox or PlayStation point of view. Now, Sandman, when you talk about this particular outlook for gamers themselves, the PC is actually a platform. It is it is a platform that is somewhat ubiquitous in nature, not controlled or organized or under the helm of some or one, particular company, if you understand what I mean. And so when the conversation actually is brewing about, say, for instance, what games are going to where and so on and so forth, it's usually something from those who are, I would say, more in the console fanatic realm that try to dismiss PC when it comes down to it. Now, here's why I think in their mind, somewhere, somehow, PC is not a platform, is simply because it's decentralized as to the distribution of games, because we have multiple distributors in that sense. You have one or two or three that can distribute any game as long as the publisher wants the game to go there. And then you have others that belong to the publisher. And, once in a while, you may see a very weird game, here and there or so. For instance, if we look at, say, Steam. Steam is a central hub in terms of the sense that it can distribute any third-party published game and also its own game on their platform. In fact, Steam refers to you, if you distribute your game on their platform, as a third-party publisher. And this is definitely something that a lot of people probably struggle with because they've used the word third party as a slur. You know what I mean? Because for some console fanatics, they believe in first party, publishing and first party game ownership as a reason when, for them to have gone to buy their console. However, when these games now leave the console, in their mind, it doesn't hold that same special nature. So when it goes to PC, where it's more decentralized, they're like, well, that's not a, controlled controlled ecosystem like the console is. So hence, it's not a platform. And so they try to basically, in a sense, justify and gymnast their way around it. This is what I've noticed with the fanatic side of the gaming conversation. But Steam is a platform. It is a publishing platform online, having a launcher to serve the the audience and such. And hence, you can pretty much come here and publish your game, and you as a customer can come here and buy whichever games that you want to buy. And the publisher is basically the one that's in charge of deciding if they want their game here or not. Another side of the whole conversation is Epic Games Store. Epic Games has their own gaming store as well as Steam. It's not as great in terms of functionality, but you can put your games here as well. If you want to basically go ahead and, sell games, you can come on Epic Games Store and sell your games, at the end of the day. Another is Xbox. Xbox also has a PC gaming store, which is interesting because they have a console as well, but their PC gaming store doesn't necessarily have, as much as, say, a lot of the others. In fact, if you go onto their website, you can shop console games. You can also shop PC games. So their games that are available on their console, some are available on PC, and not all are available everywhere. And that's also another proposition. You also have Good Old Games. Good Old Games has DRM-free games. Some could be new at launch. Yes, you see a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance is on here, Cyberpunk 2077, and this is CD Projekt Red's own publishing arm in terms of what it is that they do. So this decentralization kind of makes it a little weird for a lot of people to pretty much maybe wrap their minds around, or they pretend that it's weird and they can't wrap their minds around it, but it's just their pretense at the end of the day. So PC is basically, in my opinion anyways, decentralized and is hosting multiple platforms at the same time. Then there's also the piece of the individual hardware and the individual, make and build of the device itself. So one PC will vary from another PC. There's not a ubiquitous hardware, lineup across the board that any individual PC gamer can use. And so this is another thing that really does go ahead and throw a lot of people off as well. But the publishers that publish their games on PC, to them, this is an opportunity, because what they can do is they can target low-end hardware and then work on, scaling and adding special aspects to their game for hardware that can support it. For instance, let me show you, say, Batman Arkham Knight. It's been a while since NVIDIA has been working its way into game development. Many people think, that's what I've always said, that game development is cooked because NVIDIA and AMD won't just leave these developers alone to actually make games. They want them to add all these little new effects and such. For instance, if you look at this menu right here where I'm changing the resolution, there's an entire NVIDIA section of being able to activate NVIDIA, supported functionality, or NVIDIA supported whatever to the game. But this is a AMD 6750 XT, so I can't do it except I have an NVIDIA, card that can actually go ahead and activate these things. So NVIDIA basically, I don't know how they maybe paid their way or, supported the game or supported the developers to add this technology at the time and then put it in there for only NVIDIA cards. So maybe people may look and say, well, I want that. So they go buy an NVIDIA card to be able to leverage and enjoy that. AMD will also, in some cases support some games, and then the games will use some AMD-based technology, favor AMD in terms of optimization. And these two graphics card companies have been fighting and battling over, who and what developers will favor their games in that regard. Tom Clancy's the Division 2 AMD favored game in a sense, but I think they probably still went ahead to do a good job across the board anyways with the development and all of that stuff. So this, in my opinion, is something that needs to be considered at the end of the day. You also have the operating system level. Windows is the more ubiquitous operating system on PC, but a lot of people use other things like Linux. I almost said Linus. Linux, and then you have Steam coming out with a dedicated gaming operating system called Steam OS. I mean, actually, it's already here. You can use it if you want to basically set up a PC that you can call your Steam machine, and you can pretty much do that. So because of Steam's presence and platform, breadth, they've basically been able to go ahead and make more custom options available for gamers. This is why they're winning in many cases. And then you can do some other really cool stuff if you want, but this also decentralizes who controls your machine. So think about, say, for instance, what's their name? PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. You can only use their, operating system on their console, or if they give you a back end to be able to leverage like the Xbox Series consoles do with dev mode, then that's also a possibility. So what I think is, a lot of folk in the console point of view, and I'm talking about the fanatics, I'm not talking about like people who are playing on console, they seem to think that the ecosystem ought to be controlled for it to be a platform, or they're just lying and want to pretend like, there's some kind of exclusivity benefit that they still hold, and it's not been tarnished by their platform holder when their platform holder moves to the PC platform or the PC ecosystem at the end of the day. But, that's what I think anyways, in the general sense, when it comes down to the conversation, because I haven't met a lot of people who are who are being, I don't know if I'll call it maybe honest in this particular regard. And, it is what it is. Sometimes they'll make up stuff. Sometimes they'll say things to suit their own agenda. And, that's all it is. The console point of view doesn't matter. It's what the reality is that's, of weight when it comes down to it. All right. I'm out. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.